Okay, so let's start out, Jake, if you want to just kind of introduce who you are, what you do, how you help entrepreneurs and founders.
Yeah, so my name is Jake Kocher, born and raised in Austin, Texas. Started this business, Aim for Hire, which is a recruiting firm with my brother. We work almost exclusively with seed to Series C funded tech startups, helping them find talent across the org. In addition to that, we also help introduce founders to capital that are raising and typically represent VCs in their portfolio companies when they have hiring needs.
Oh, I love that. Awesome. So yeah, y'all come in from a couple different angles, really helping people get the talent they need to build that business that they're aiming for. I love that.
Absolutely.
So yeah, what we're gonna do is just kind of walk through, because yeah, like as you know, those talent needs, they change as your business goes along. The talent you need at day 0 versus day 100 versus, when you're ready to really scale and launch are going to look really different. So let's kind of walk through these. We're going to frame them around our different stages of growth. Interesting. Okay. All right, let's talk real briefly, or not to be brief, but the saturation stage. So scalability, we're growing, we're really still trying to preserve quality of the service or the product we're delivering, but we're trying to grow and scale and reach a new threshold. Saturation, we're really solidifying dominance. So we've already gone through scaling. We're trying to keep that dominance, but also drive innovation maybe within that space, take over adjacent spaces. In that space, again, this kind of saturation in some ways feels similar to sustainability in that it's no longer this super high curve, but one of the dangers in this saturation stage is that it becomes kind of stagnation, because you're not trying to grow, and you can start to lose market share because you're not continuing to innovate and improve in your space, but really you're trying to protect a lot of this dominance in an area. How does thinking about talent change if you're in that state where you're really trying to saturate? And this could be like on a broad giant market. So this could be like a Meta or something like that, or it could be something that you're locally saturating. So like say you have a service, this is like a totally different category, but like if you think about let's think about here in Austin, it gets real hot in the summer. If you were like, hey, we're going to saturate the HVAC market, here, and because you can't fix HVAC, will never, well, maybe someday it will be, but not anytime soon is it going to be done in a distributed way where we can jump on a call and I can fix your HVAC. Right. But so it's geographically constricted, and so saturation doesn't have to mean like global size organization. It can actually be structured, but it's still like, okay, we've saturated. How do we protect our market share in this space? How does talent, whether it's something like that or it's saturation because you've totally dominated a new category as a startup, either one of those, how should a founder be thinking about talent in that saturation stage?
I think like encouraging innovation, right? I think because there is a tendency to, I'm trying to think of another way to describe this, fat and happy, right? You've made a ton of money, things are ripping, you're dominating the space, all is good in the world. But as you know, like COVID can happen tomorrow and everything, and then you're a restaurant and now you're making $0 and your overhead's out of control. Totally. And so I think it's like, I think there's an interesting perspective to be had of like being able to allocate a percentage of your workforce to innovation.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Yeah.
And so are they the best fit for the saturated part of the market? Maybe not, but maybe you have a couple employees or a couple of maybe a team or something like that. And if you're at the saturation phase, you should have enough capital to do that without getting a headache over it. To, shoot ahead of the bird and foresee what can happen in the next 6-12 months. I know a founder that I know really well. They do an idea day every quarter, right? Where every employee can pitch any idea without fear of judgment to the founding team. And it might be, at 1,000-person company, that's probably not possible, but you catch my drift. Like, it's these little things that are like very intentional that can just introduce new ideas. And I think also, David, like, have you created that culture up to this point?
Yeah. Yeah, you can't
'Cause
wait to create that till the saturation.
if you've created a culture of fear, you're probably going to get left behind.
That's a good
But
call out there. Yeah.
but if you've created a culture of collaboration where people feel encouraged to share things, then and I think it goes back to our original point. If I see the founder on the sales floor, I'm just 99 times more likely to say, "Hey, I have an idea," or something like that. Whereas if I see the person at sales kickoff for 2 hours every year, like, why would I don't care to share anything with them, and I don't think they care to hear what I have to say.
Because I imagine they're gonna be like, "What's your name again? Which department do you work in?"
Exactly,
Like, "Hey,
exactly.
Jake, how are things going?" Like that. Yeah, it's totally a different culture, and that's
For
such a
sure.
good call out. That it's like we like to think about these stages because they are sequential and they help people decide what to focus on. But yeah, what you're cultivating and you're building all along the way, and you can't just like as a person, as we grow and mature, we don't just become a different person because we hit a certain age. And
Right.
we don't just like that company that you're cultivating and that culture, it leads into what kind of company are you going to be in at that saturation stage if you get there. Yeah, that's
For
really
sure.
good.